You ever get that feeling that the hype around AI just doesn't quite match up with reality? For every amazing new thing it can do, there's a story about some spectacular, almost comical failure. Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into today. We're diving deep into the core ideas from Meredith Broussard's incredible book, Artificial Unintelligence, to get a much clearer picture of how computers, well, how they actually misunderstand our world.
Right at the start, Broussard gives us this powerful idea, and honestly, it's the key to everything. She calls it techno-chauvinism. It's this deep-seated, almost blind faith that whatever the problem is, social, political, you name it, a tech fix is not only possible, but it's always the best choice. And that's the big assumption we're really going to challenge here.
All right, so first things first, let's tackle this myth of perfect tech head-on. We really need to look at the massive gap between what we hope technology can do and what it's actually capable of in the real world.
And this right here lays out the fundamental problem perfectly. On one side, you have our hopes for this all-knowing, totally objective problem solver. But the reality? Technology is a tool. That's it, a tool built by humans. And because of that, it inherits all our limitations and, all our biases. It's not magic, it's just a reflection of us, its creators, and it can get things profoundly, deeply wrong about the world.
So to really get a handle on those limitations, we've got to pop the hood and see what's actually going on inside. Because what you find isn't some magical thinking brain. It's something much, much more basic.
So here's the crucial thing to remember. The AI we use every single day, the stuff in our phones, in our apps, it's called narrow AI. This isn't the thinking, feeling computer from the movies, not even close. It's just a system designed to do one very specific thing, like spot a face in a photo or guess the next word you're going to type. It does this by finding patterns, not by actually understanding a single thing.
At its core, machine learning is really just a simple three-step dance. First, it swallows up massive amounts of data made by people. Second, it uses some very powerful math to find statistical patterns in all that data. And finally, it uses those patterns to make a prediction about something new. Now, notice what's missing from that list. Things like consciousness or judgment or wisdom? Nope. It's just math.
And that brings us to maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle, the data itself. Broussard makes this absolutely essential point, that data isn't some pure, objective truth that just falls out of the sky. No way. It's created by people, collected by people, and labeled by people. It reflects our entire history, our society, and, you guessed it, all of our biases.
So, that leads us to the big, critical question. If the data itself is flawed, and the AI is really just a pattern matching machine that runs on that flawed data, what in the world happens when we start using these systems to make really high-stakes decisions about people's lives?
Well, the thing is, the consequences aren't just theoretical. Broussard's work is packed with examples of where this techno-chauvinism leads to real, tangible, and sometimes devastating harm.
And these failures have very real consequences. I mean, think about flawed facial recognition. We've seen systems trained on biased data that are far less accurate for women and people of color, leading to false accusations and even wrongful arrests. Or what about predictive policing algorithms? They can end up sending more cops into already over-policed neighborhoods, which creates this awful feedback loop of bias that just seems to justify the original flawed prediction. Even the dream of self-driving cars keeps running into the messy reality that they can't always recognize people who don't look like the people in their training data. These aren't just little bugs. They are the predictable result of putting blind faith in imperfect tech.
Okay, so if blind faith in technology is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's not about throwing out all our tech. It's about fundamentally changing our relationship with it and putting human values right back in the center of the whole conversation.
This right here. This simple, powerful idea is the absolute heart of Broussard's argument. We're the ones who create this stuff, so we should be the ones in charge. Technology is a tool, and it should be designed to help us, to serve our collective goals, not to dictate how we live. So how do we actually do this? Well, we can start by demanding transparency. We should know how these systems work. We can champion the need for human oversight, making sure a real person is always in the loop for the big decisions. It also means we have to learn to resist the constant hype and start asking much tougher questions. And, most importantly, it means designing our technology from the very beginning to serve the values we all share, like fairness, equity, and justice.
So, in the end, this whole explainer really leaves us with a challenge. Look, AI is here and it's not going anywhere. But its future isn't written in stone.
It is up to us, all of us, as users, creators, and citizens, to move past this naive belief in technology and start asking the harder, more important questions about how we can build a future where our tools reflect the very best parts of who we are.